And people get offended when I eat healthy, even though it has no effect on them because they think I'm saying you should eat this way. I'm not saying that at all.
And I think one thing that's interesting too, back to where people looked you in your eye and told you that you, just because you're going to Atlanta doesn't mean you're going to make it. It's like, what is their goal in that situation? I mean, you'd be like, you know what, you're right, and then not go to Atlanta. Like, even if you go to Atlanta and you don't make it, you still went there and had that shot.
Yeah, I know what exactly it is. It's when people see you doing something that they innately want to do, they want to somehow make it even. They want to somehow protect their ego in saying, okay, I'm doing the right thing by not doing anything out of my comfort zone. And so by them saying that, it it they feel like it protects their decisions. Like people, that's what I realized. Like I'm really into healthy eating, and people get offended when I eat healthy, even though it has no effect on them because they think I'm saying you should eat this way. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying like this is what I want to consume. This is the best decision for me. I enjoy this. I feel good about it. But and it's the same thing in the creative world. When people see you doing something that reminds them, oh, like because everyone deep down knows they should be eating healthy. Like when people's, oh, I should be starting that business, writing that book, doing that thing that is in the back of my mind. And when I see someone else have bold, inspired action to make it happen, I get offended, so I have to somehow bring it down and rationalize to make myself feel better.
And so, kind of on that too, another thing that I've noticed, when it's not just the fact that you make them feel like they're you're eating healthy makes them feel like they should be eating healthy. It's also that people don't like change, and it's not just the change that they make. It's like when other people change around them, that kind of impacts their world in a small degree, and so therefore they don't like that change that you're creating within yourself, and so they push back on it as well. You know what I'm saying?
100%. When people see you improving, you start to become someone else, right? And there's just different interest, and like now they feel like they have to change too. And yeah, people don't like change. You couldn't have said it better. So to protect them not having to change, they want to keep you the same.
And so how do you, like you said back in the day, like you guys had the three of you, so you were kind of able to rally off of each other. But like even in that case, like how do you have, like, it's different when there's haters online versus haters looking you in the eye telling you that just because you're going means you might not make it. It's like what keeps you going in those moments?
I remember I have a journal. I have a journal somewhere where I wrote you know how like football teams like hang up like locker room inspiration, like locker room like newspaper articles saying they're going to lose. Like I wrote that stuff down. And I was like, you know what? Just because they said that, we're going to make it happen. Uh and I don't know if that helped or not. And I don't really now I don't think that that's like the healthiest way to approach that. Now I more so would just like, like maybe my actions might inspire them to uh maybe they don't see it right now, but maybe my actions over time will inspire them to take their own form of bold, inspire action. And at the time though, I think that we were just um trying to put myself in the headspace at the time, because it was still a crazy gamble. Like, I remember 2 weeks in, I went into my one boy's room and we just cried. We were like, "What are we doing here? Like, this is stupid." Like, we really wanted to move back. We didn't believe we definitely were down on ourselves and, had those moments of, like, this is a moronic idea. And I don't I what pushed us through was probably, I mean, sign the lease. I mean, you know what? I'll say I think I don't think that it succeeds if we stay in Westchester. I think going and removing yourself. Here's an analogy I use. So I think something that helped us was, imagine you're a fish that's swimming in a fishbowl, right? And then someone takes you out of that fishbowl and puts you into another one, and you're getting in that other fishbowl, like, all these new scenes, like, the water's different, people are walking and, like, wearing different stuff, like, all the imagery, there's sun like, you start to see the world in a totally different light, but also you don't have the immediate, um limiting beliefs, the outlook on the world that like all of the people in your immediate circle in the other fishbowl had. Like you're in this new world, and that's what we felt like. Felt like we were on an island in Atlanta, and I get why a lot of artists like go and like go to Montana, go like random places to record their albums, to go because like it's hard to see clearly when like because we're tribal people, and like it's sort of our instinct to like wanna go with the flow, wanna see how everyone's seeing the world, like, wanna fall in line but, like, it's hard to create from that from that way of thinking too. So I think going down there, removing ourselves from all of the things that, like, we were comfortable with, forced us to, um, to just, see the world differently. And then the other thing is we're hanging around people like Scooter. He's bringing us around these musicians. He's bringing us around these studios, these entrepreneurs, these investors, and these people got bread. I'm around more millionaires in a month than I have been, leading up to that, and, so I think when you start to see this is I think once you see what's possible, right? When you see, "Oh, they've done it. Here's another example of someone doing it." Once you see examples of what possible, it opens up the your brain, to accept it like, "Oh, I it is possible." Like, once you like I said at the beginning, it's like putting different glasses on and just seeing a world differently, and I think that was so important, us being down there and yeah, just, like, getting out of our comfort zones and having being forced to commit.
So how are you getting out of your comfort zone today? Because like then obviously you're a college student, so you have less dependence, you have less responsibilities. You can kind of drop things and go versus like now, maybe you can. But like I don't know if you could drop everything and move to Atlanta tomorrow.
The way I'm doing it now is I've been having interviews like this, podcasts like this, but also, I am dude, like, I probably have, like, 5 new people I meet a week on Zoom or on FaceTime, and through the DMs on Instagram or on TikTok. It is such an amazing tool, and it's such a collaborative, supportive community, and, DM someone, be like, "Yo, like, let's catch up, wanna learn more about what you're doing." It's that simple, and then just be like, send a Calendly link or just send your number and just get on the call with other people that are doing like, that have success in areas that you don't already have success in. Because you can learn a bit from them, and, like, you might have areas that complement them and just rap and build those relationships. I come upstairs and, like, I tell my wife, she's like, "Yo, you were on the phone with that dude for 4 hours." Like, it's like a Saturday, and I'm like, "Yeah," like, we had it was just a fun. I was just, like, really enjoying that conversation, and what he's doing, he's exposing me to his fishbowl, right? Like, his world, his way of seeing things, and once I get these little moments of, like, "Oh, they succeed. Oh, he made this much off of affiliates. Oh, that makes it possible in my brain." Now, like, once you get an example of it's possible, I think, there's a lot of examples of that in history where, like, stuff never happened before, then one guy did it, and then 3 months later, everyone did it. Like, I think the 4-Minute Mile is an example. I think, people writing, like, certain books and certain subjects, like, as soon as someone's exposed to that world Benjamin Hardy talks about, so I'm going on a rant. He talks about Benjamin Hardy's an author. He adopted a bunch of kids, a couple kids recently, and he talks about how just growing up in his house now, they see what's possible from an author, an entrepreneur, and their brain starts to make sense of that. And like before, they never had an example of that in real time to even consider.
That's interesting. So even though you can't physically be places with the internet now, there's ways to digitally kind of expose yourself to these new environments and get out of your comfort zone that way.
Bro, I coulda said all of that in that one sentence. Yes, exactly. It's that, and, the other thing that I try to consider too, Simon Sinek talks about the infinite game versus the finite games, and the infinite game, I'm not the best at explaining it, but it's like or the finite game is like competing against someone else. So in the past, I would have saw like something my friend did or saw like and like really being like, oh, like and like comparing myself to them and needing to be better than them and openly like us having conversations like, yo, I was jealous when you did that because I've never done that before. But now he says like find worthy opponents to elevate your game instead of trying to beat them. Use that as an example of what's possible, and then also play infinite games where it's like, is me doing this bettering everything for the long term, and like playing that game instead of trying to beat someone on like a very small finite scale. So that's what I do too. I've been, whenever I see something that in the past would have made me jealous or insecure because someone's crushing it, I say, you know what? Like, what can I learn from this? There's a quote I have. It's called everyone's hiking their own hike. And the other, it's a derivative of everyone's running their own race. I don't like race because a race means there's an end point. It means there's a competition. It means there's a start and a finish. But I think entrepreneurs, creators, podcasters, whatever, we're all different hikes. We're going through different paths in the woods. Some people are going further. Some people are going this way. Some people want to jump in the river, and there's no real like competition here. But you can learn from each other. So you can go on one hike and say, Tom, you got to come check out this waterfall over here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to go check out that waterfall. And the analogy is the waterfall is like, okay, maybe I can learn from you. You're using Zencaster. And okay, maybe I should use that instead of Zoom. Maybe that's why his podcasts are a little better, and we can collaborate that way. So hike. Everyone's hiking their own hike, and we can collaborate with each other.
I like that. It's like taking an abundant mindset, not only applying it to yourself, but understanding that it can apply to more than just yourself, and everyone can win. It's not an individual game. I really like that a lot.